Super Mario Brothers is awesome. Super Mario Brothers 2 was even more awesome. What could possibly come next?
Super Mario Brothers 3!
Oh my! Well, sorry, I had to make that joke. But in all seriousness, though, Super Mario Bros. 3 is regarded as one of the best NES games of all time. And for good reason. Not only is it regarded as one of the best games of the 8-bit era, but it's regarded as one of the best Mario games, Nintendo games, and possibly even video games of all time. But is that praise justified today? Well, let's find out.
Now before we begin, let's get some info out of the way. So with Shigeru Miyamoto having created 2 successful Mario games in Japan and in North America, he really wanted to experiment with the established formula. As a result, in 1988, Japan received Super Mario Bros. 3 on a cartridge. Yeah, by this point the Famicom disk system had run its course and consumers had proven to be much more comfortable with cartridges. Sounds like the Wii U and Switch to me, but anyways, the game received much praise in Japan and efforts shifted for the game to be brought to North America. By the end of 1989, Universal Studios released an around 90-minute Nintendo commercial disguised as a film called The Wizard, with a teaser to Mario 3 being revealed at the end of the movie. I may go into further details in a possible review of the movie in the future, but the point is that this movie hyped many Nintendo fans up for the game's release. Super Mario Bros. 3 was released in early 1990 in North America and received critical acclaim and praise from gamers and critics alike. But now, let's see how much of that praise is warranted. Like the other games, we begin with the story. Now, I know I sort of stated that Mario 3 follows the same plotline as most of the other Mario games, but it does stray away from the regular story in some sense. Anyways, the Mushroom Kingdom has been at peace for some time, but unfortunately, Bowser has decided to strike back. He has sent his 7 children, known as the Koopa Kids, to take the magic wands from the rulers of all of the worlds of the kingdom. In order to break the curse the kids have placed on the kings, the Mario Brothers must trek through the worlds and defeat each of the Koopa Kids to restore peace to the kingdom. So in a sense, it is pretty different from other Mario games, but you'll see in a bit. Well, graphically speaking, come on, it's the best looking Mario game on the NES. I could see some debate between this game and Mario 2, but I think the colors here are just even more colorful than before. In terms of gameplay, it very much feels like the first Mario game. There are 8 worlds, each ending with a boss fight, but there are quite a few differences. Firstly, each world has its own unique map, showing you the locations of levels, toad houses, spade panels, card games, and Hammer Brothers. Just like Mario 2, you can go back in the level, which makes it easier to better position yourself for certain difficulties in platforming. In order to clear a stage, Mario has to hit a block by which he can either get a mushroom, fire flower, or star. By obtaining 3, you can get a 1-up, but by obtaining 3 of the same, you can get multiple 1-ups, 3 stars resulting in the best result of 5 lives. Toad houses have 3 chests Mario can choose from, resulting in the player receiving a power-up that can be stored in the inventory. Yes, Mario now has an inventory that he can use by pressing B and selecting the power-up you choose. Now, if you run into a Hammer Brother on the overworld, you must face them and defeat them, rewarding you with a power-up, which is usually a star. Now, the card game requires you to match cards together, resulting in you obtaining what is on the card. If you flip over 2 Fire Flower cards, for example, you get a Fire Flower in your inventory. Be sure to keep track of your inventory because it can get pretty full fast thanks to the new power-ups. As far as I know, this game has the most power-ups of any Mario game to date, with the exception of possibly New Super Mario Bros. U. In addition to the Mushroom, Fire Flower, and Starman, Mario can now obtain the Raccoon Leaf, which allows him to fly for a short time by increasing the P meter and pressing B constantly to stay in the air, the Frog Suit, which Mario can use to swim better underwater, and the Tanuki Suit, which is just like the Raccoon Leaf, but it allows Mario to turn into a statue. In addition to these power-ups, there are overworld power-ups such as the Cloud, which allows Mario to skip levels, the Hammer that breaks rocks, the Anchor that can prevent airships from moving in a world map, a music box that puts Hammer Brothers to sleep, and the Magic Whistle, which allows the player to skip worlds. The last 2 power-ups I forgot to mention were the P-Wing and Hammer Bros suit. The P-Wing allows Mario to fly infinitely, and the Hammer Bros suit is just like the Fire Flower, but it can kill just about everything. Speaking of everything, there are many enemies, old and new, that are on an assault against Mario. With the return of Goombas, Koopa Troopas, Piranha Plants, Lakitus, Bob-ombs, Bloopers, and Cheep Cheeps, there are many new faces. New enemies include Paragoombas, Fire Snakes, Parabeetles, Chain Chomps, Fire Chomps, Spikes, Thwomps, Boos, Nuclear Waffles, Rotodiscs, Dry Bones, Rocky Wrenches, Boomerang Fire and Sledge Brothers, the Sun, and Boom Boom. Boom Boom is an enemy you fight at the end of every castle, and he's pathetically easy. Just stand near him when he's down and hit him 3 times for the count. Now, like I said before, there are 8 worlds, each with unique attributes. World 1 is a grassland, World 2 is a desert, World 3 is full of water, World 4 is home of the giants, and for some reason most people really like this world. World 5 is up in the sky, World 6 is made of ice, World 7 is surrounded by pipes, and World 8 is the home of Bowser. The end of each world involves a toad begging you to climb aboard the airships and defeat the Koopa Kid that commands it. If you happen to die on an airship, it will flee to another part of the world map, where you can then go find it and board it to try again. Now, the Koopa Kids, in the order of this game at least, are Larry Koopa, Morton Koopa Jr., Wendy O. Koopa, Iggy Koopa, Ludwig Von Koopa, Lemmy Koopa, and Roy Koopa. By defeating a Koopa Kid, Mario receives the magic wand they stole and returns it to the King of the World. The King will then give you a letter from the Princess Peach, who will aid you by giving you power-ups, which are usually just P-Wings. However, the 7th World King gives you a letter from Bowser, who has kidnapped the princess and has her captive in his castle. Now it's time to take care of him once and for all. Now, if you're coming into this game for the first time, you should know that this game can get pretty challenging, especially in World 8. But it isn't as hard as the Lost Levels. The challenge here is much fairer and rewarding than in Lost Levels. Anyways, in addition to having the most difficult stages, World 8 also has some tricks up its sleeves. There are hands that grab you and drag you down into a challenge level, and one section of the world is almost completely dark. But it's all worth it to get to the final castle. Bowser actually decides to change up his strategy for once and try to freaking squash Mario to death. But to be honest, it's pretty simple to beat him. Just stand in the same place for a few turns and Bowser is knocked out for good. Afterwards, Mario enters a room guarded by Bowser, where he rescues the princess. Wait, what? Oh, good. Jeez, Peach, don't do that to me. But after that nonsense, the credits roll with a recap of the entire game with a great ending theme. Now onto the music. Everything here has become staples of Mario and Nintendo soundtracks, featuring the overworld theme, the second overworld theme, the underground theme, the castle theme, the airship theme, battle theme, and the final boss theme. Not to mention that each overworld has a unique theme to it as well. Overall, Super Mario Bros. 3 is a substantial improvement on the first game's structure, and combines it with many aspects of Mario 2 to provide the best Mario experience on the NES, and possibly of all Mario games today. The levels are well made, the challenges, while difficult, fair. The additional minigames, while being an option, allow for the player to be benefited a lot. The inventory system is excellent, and the presentation is top-notch. This is not only the best Mario game of the 8-bit era, but possibly the best game of the 8-bit era in general. But that's a debate for another day. If you haven't played it, by all means, do yourself a favor and play it. It's now available on the NES Switch Online app, as well as part of the Mario All-Stars pack on the SNES Online app. But I think the best version is the Game Boy Advance remake. Not only does it have all the benefits of the SNES version, but it added levels to the game, thanks to the e-reader. But nowadays, those levels are almost long gone, except in the Wii U version. But I mean, who owns a Wii U? The best option today would be likely to emulate the game and allow for the e-reader levels to be included. But the NES and All-Stars versions are also good alternatives.
Well, that was a lot, but Mario's days on the NES are over. Well, with that out of the way, it's time to move on. Now I won't be moving on to Super Mario World for the next review. Instead, I'm going to end off Mario's entire career in the 8-bit era. Those games, of course, being Super Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2 for the Nintendo Game Boy. Well, I'll see you in the next review.